Guys, we have a problem. We've designed all these cool cars, but the emissions don't meet the standards set by the EPA. Like, how can we redesign it so it can meet the standards?
I don't know. Earlier the boss said we gotta get this done ASAP. But at this rate, it's never going to happen. I think we should tell her.
Hey boss, do you mind coming over here? We have an issue.
We have some bad news, guys. The cars are emitting above the regulated limits. We don't have time to fix the problem for the on-road testing.
I don't care what you do, but you need to get it done before the federal emissions test. We can't lose our investors or our stakeholders in this company.
Okay, so I have an idea, but it's not a good one. We could use a defeat device that will adjust components like the catalytic converter that's often used to recycle some of the exhaust gas. But then, once the test is over, the software will tell it to keep emitting oxides. We'll set up some code that will allow the diesel engines to detect when they're being tested. The car's computer will save fuel by allowing more pollutants to pass through the exhaust system.
Yeah, so this is a really bad idea. Do you hate the environment?
It's the best idea we have in this short time. It's not like anyone is going to find out.
Our profit margins have been thinning lately. We really need to step it up for next quarter so our shareholders are willing to continue to invest. I think that the defeat device is necessary to increase our margins. We can try decreasing emissions and resources used for a future date when our margins are larger.
But man, this will have major implications if the EPA finds out about this defeat device. If they do, we might not have a future where we can be more environmentally sustainable. We have an obligation right now to our kids and our grandkids to take care of the environment while meeting society's needs.
Listen, climate change is not our problem. Leave that for other people in other countries.
Have you not been following the news? There's been kids in elementary schools all over the world skipping school so that they can protest because there's not enough action done about climate change. We have unprecedented disasters like Hurricane Harvey in Texas or wildfires in California due to climate change. Wouldn't you want your children and their children to inherit a functioning Earth? It is our responsibility as engineers to proceed ethically, and we're in a position to help others. It is our duty.
Honestly, I'm going to engineer one, but my hands are tied. Investors and stakeholders are demanding larger margins, and there's no other way. Install the device immediately for further testing.
The case U.S. versus Volkswagen is now in session at the Detroit District Court.
Your Honor, I present my opening statements. The EPA has many roles and responsibilities in the federal government, one of which is to enforce the Clean Air Act. These laws are set by our agencies, and they clearly show the limits of nitrogen oxides that can be emitted from cars. These guys cheated our system during our tests. They used a defeat device that tells the car when to stop emitting oxides during the test, but then once the car is out on the open road, it tells it to emit whatever it wants. This is clearly an attempt to defraud a federal agency in order to violate the Clean Air Act. An on-road testing was done by the California Air Resources Board, and it found that emissions came from the car on the road and did not align with the emissions from our tests. In addition, the International Council on Clean Transportation found that this was done so in order to save fuel.
We never created any sort of defeat device. This is just a technical glitch.
I will call Volkswagen Software Engineer 1 to the witness stand. Engineer 1, please describe your role in the design of this alleged defeat device.
So yeah, we were tasked with designing the software that would actually be used by the car. Despite my pleas not to, Schmidt was determined to use the defeat device in order to make the company more money. This was no technical glitch. It was done so intentionally. As engineers, it is our job to uphold ethical responsibility, but Schmidt refused to.
Thank you, engineer. His decision had massive consequences. Millions of cars were made, all with the defeat device. This man should face jail time, and he should also have to pay. The customers trusted Volkswagen to provide a quality, law-abiding product, and they have failed to do so. Many of them feel deceived. Unless they receive money from Volkswagen, they'll have to pay out of pocket to make sure their cars are compliant with our environmental standards. Not to mention, there are environmental costs associated with these cars as well. These excess NOx compounds lead to more particulate matter and ozone in the air, which are really bad for air quality. In fact, a published study found that 59 people experienced premature death as a result of these cars. Not to mention, the total social cost totaled to about $450 million.
This court finds Schmidt guilty of all charges. You were sentenced to 7 years in prison in order to pay a $400,000 fine for your part in a decade-long diesel emissions cheating scandal.